The stats don't lie. Erik Ten Hag has had the worst ever Premier League season in Manchester United's history and has had the worst start to a Premier League season post Sir Alex Ferguson. This is Forever United TV. Welcome along to the show, everybody. Before we get into all the details of the show, please make sure you give the video a like. Make sure you have hit that subscribe button and the bell notification button alongside it to make sure you are missing out on no Manchester United content going forward, coming to you free and daily here on FUTV. Erik Ten Hag. The writing is on the wall. We all know it. Why should Erik Ten Hag not even be considered to be given a chance at Manchester United right now? Well, the stats tell you everything. The table never lies. It's the age-old saying in football. The one big stat, the one important one that counts above all else is that position and where you are in the league. Ten Hag has made the worst Premier League starts over every other manager post Sir Alex Ferguson. Probably going back, I've not even gone back that far, but it will be Manchester United's worst start to a Premier League season in the history of the Premier League. And this off the back of our worst ever finish in Premier League history. If that wasn't enough, Manchester United, well, Erik Ten Hag has been in situ at this football club, have conceded more than 3 or more goals in a game more than any other Premier League club. 24 to be exact. Manchester United's current form in Europe, where Manchester United are supposedly trying to aim to and trying to get to under Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, have won one game in the last 10 under Erik Ten Hag. Last season, Erik Ten Hag had the worst defensive performance, yes, again, in Manchester United's Premier League history. Goal scoring hasn't got much better in the Premier League under Erik Ten Hag, consistently getting lower and lower and lower. Everything that looks at how Manchester United can progress under Erik Ten Hag, everything that tries to spin a positive in terms of what he can do and how he can turn it around at Manchester United is failing. Over $500 million, spent on players to try and improve this team. The worst defensive record at Manchester United over every other manager that's been in at the club since Sir Alex Ferguson. And all of them were given nowhere near as much time as what Erik Ten Hag has been given. It's shocking enough on its own to read through the stats and what Ten Hag has failed at Manchester United and why people are still trying to convince themselves that he can turn this around. I do not know why. He is a very, very poor Premier League manager. The Cups, yes, on one hand, are exactly what Manchester United used to be all about. Why does this club have to drop its standards and go back to the 80s and say that we're a Cup side just so that suits Erik Ten Hag and what he is trying to say is progression at this football club? It is not there. It seems doom and gloom. It seems overly negative. It seems like we are just trying to get this manager out right now as a fan base. And a lot of fans have turned on Erik Ten Hag and the performance levels of these players have dropped dramatically. But the stats and the facts are there in front of everybody. You cannot hide away from what is obvious and in front of your eyes. Not only are we watching poor, boring football for where Manchester United should be, it is it's non-leadership. You've got to look at where the players are at on the pitch, where they're playing, how they're performing, how they've fallen off in performance levels, and everything numbers-wise completely backs up the claim that Erik Ten Hag has just lost all control at this football club. You could add to the numbers the amount of staff that he's had at Manchester United, a continuation of staff behind him on the coaching side of things that is just not working. But going back to everything that is in there in black and white for Ten Hag right now, and for fans to actually take into consideration when looking to find a reason to keep Ten Hag in a job, there is a position for Ten Hag elsewhere. It's just not at Manchester United. These stats and these numbers just keep on adding up in the negative block for Erik Ten Hag, and it is just not good enough for Manchester United. It is as simple as that. When everything is broken down, you can look at what he said, you can look at the trophies, you can look at Manchester United's history of getting rid of managers and trying to break this so-called cycle of not changing things up, trying to convince themselves that he is the right man going forward, that the players are all on board, and everyone is behind this whole philosophy and this vision that Ten Hag has got, the so-called process, the so-called plan, the bounce back constantly from Ten Hag. It just isn't there. The table never lies. Manchester United lie 13th in the league. They lie 21st in the Europa League table. You cannot ignore the numbers. You cannot ignore where United are and how far away we are. Even in the depths of despair and the worst seasons that you can imagine as a United fan, like Solskjaer and Rangnick and Carrick and the debacle that season was, that was still better than Ten Hag's so-called progressive season last season. The mess that was that season with Solskjaer. Remember the games, the Watford game, when fans are arguing with Solskjaer and Bruno Fernandes. I was there at the game. All of that season and the carnage and everything, it was still better than what Ten Hag managed in last season's Premier League. Let that sink in for a minute. Why are you dropping your standards? Why are you accepting that this is progress when it's not? Ten Hag had a very good season. I want to make a point of bringing up Ten Hag's good season in his first one in the Premier League. This isn't all against what Ten Hag has done and how bad we are right now. I want to make this point because this is the most important one out of everything in this video, is that Ten Hag finished third with Manchester United in his first season and he won a trophy. Why has he dropped his standards to saying that last season was acceptable in Manchester United's worst ever Premier League season? Ever. Let that sink in. Why is it acceptable that Manchester United have conceded 3 or more goals more times than any other Premier League club? Why is it acceptable that Manchester United's goal difference is still in the minus? For how long now? Going on months now if you add last season into this season. Why is it acceptable to go off the back of our worst ever Premier League season and start the worst that we ever have to a Premier League season the following season? Is it not enough? Are the numbers not adding up? Well, look at the players and the performances. Look at the attitude of the players. Look at the players' numbers. Look where Manchester United are. Look at the individual mistakes. Look at the continuation of similar mistakes and how other managers are taking advantage of Manchester United and the way that they're set up. It is not a case of witch hunt, get Ten Hag out. It is a graduation of standards dropping, Manchester United's form falling off a cliff, Ten Hag not accepting that things are bad at this football club, and Ten Hag trying to convince everybody that Manchester United are where they should be. We are not. We are a million miles away from it. And why did Ten Hag drop his own standards from the first season? Why did he make excuses last season saying that Manchester United overachieved? Is that a manager that you want in your football club, convincing these players that they overachieved rather than achieved what they are expected at Manchester United in that first season? It makes no sense. Nothing adds up. It only gets worse when you try to back up any argument or fight any corner for Erik Ten Hag in what he's achieved at Manchester United right now. The trophies aside, they are great, but they are not enough. They are covering up gaping canyon-sized cracks within Manchester United's foundations and how this club is running right now. It doesn't matter what happens off the pitch. It's the same old every single season. You speak to any media, you speak to any journalist. If Manchester United are not winning on the pitch, everything else off the pitch counts for nothing. It does. And the most important thing, the bread and butter, the Premier League, because that's all we can talk about at the moment because we're not even in the Champions League. What Manchester United used to stand for and what Manchester United used to achieve when the standards were where we expected them to be for the price that the fans are paying. That is where United are at, and that's under Ten Hag's tenure. Why did he drop his own standards? That's the question I want to ask you. Why is he making excuses for his own achievements? Is that not the biggest red flag of all? Get in the comments below. Do you believe in standards and the stats that are proving that the standards are dropping? Or are you still convinced that Ten Hag is the right man? And everybody is ignoring the facts and the stats that are there that are telling us that Manchester United are on a downward spiral. Like, share, and make sure that you have subscribed to FUTV United TV. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, everybody. Get your comments in below.